I loved learning about your spiritual journey. I think there was some interview where you talked about, or maybe it was in your memoir where you talked about in college being on your knees, kind of going through anxiety and stress and overwhelm, where you were starring in the plays and you looked like you had it all put together on the outside, but the inside you were dealing with anxiety,
a total mess,
and a lot of other things that were just happening. And you were on your knees praying, and you didn't. And I think it was you didn't really feel like you had a spiritual connection at that moment, but that opened up a spiritual channel.
Yeah. I mean, that's another great example, right? Is when you get on your knees in prayer, again, that's a physical embodiment of an emotional dynamic, because there is inherent humility for being on your knees. So sometimes I'm a person who prays all the time. Like I pray in my car, I pray when I'm walking down the street, I pray when I'm cooking dinner. But I do feel like there are times when it's really important for me to take that submissive posture and get on my knees just to remind myself that I'm not in control, that I'm not the ultimate power, that there's something bigger than me, that I can ask for help that's outside of me. So again, that for me, that relationship between, how we think, how we feel, and how it lives in the body is such a huge part of how I work as an actor and how I try to live my life.
Yeah. When you started praying after that moment, what did you start to hear?
So like you said, I was in college and I was really struggling. I have throughout my life struggled with an eating disorder, and that was like the worst of it. That was the turning point where I really was like, I need help. Like I can't fix this by myself.
Is this like starving, or is this like?
So you know what? For me, I knew that eating disorders existed, and I think I tried to play this game where I didn't want to fit into any easy diagnosis. So I was always kind of like transforming it and morphing it. And it would be like days of binging and then days of starving and then days of over-exercising, and just kind of like, I felt like if I kept moving it, then I wasn't any simple sick person. I was just like trying to be my best me, but I was controlled and obsessed by feeling like I wasn't enough.
Really?
Yeah. So the prayer for me was really, I think what I started to hear was that it was okay to ask for help, and that it was okay for me to seek healing.
Why do you think you didn't feel enough?
I think for me, that journey started really, really, really early. And I talk about this a little bit in my memoir, but, I was conceived with the help of a sperm donor. And that was something I didn't find out until I was in my 40s.
Oh, man. That's crazy to me.
It was pretty wild. I think my parents would have taken this secret to their graves if they could have.
Gosh.
And luckily, they weren't able to. They were kind of forced to tell me, to share this with me. And it wound up being transformative for our family, because it was the thing that they were most terrified to tell me, because they thought that it would destroy our family, that I would be angry with them, that I would no longer see my dad as my dad, that it would fracture this kind of perfect facade, this image that we were portraying to the world. It, of course, as with most things in life, had the opposite impact. It was so healing for my family to sit in that truth and to have the courage to be honest with one another. Actually made me feel closer to my dad. It made me so grateful to my parents. I understood so many of the like confusing dynamics of our household growing up. Suddenly I understood. I often say like I entered the world in a lie. Right? Like the moment that I got here, the moment that I emerged from my mom, like they were lying to me about who my parents were. And so I think there was a disconnect very early on. And like most kids, I decided children, to make sense of discomfort and unease, they will blame ourselves, right? Like I must be the reason, because you can't blame your parents because they're responsible for your survival and well-being. Yeah. So you blame yourself. And so for me, I think I decided, well, I must not be enough. Like this weird disconnect that I have, or this way that they hold me at arm's length, or this kind of slight veil where I feel like I'm not getting 100% of the truth. And I couldn't have articulated any of that as a child, but it was a feeling, right? I thought, well, maybe if I'm better, they'll be closer to me. Wow. If I'm better, I'll have their full presence. So that's why I think I interpreted it as I have to be more, I have to do better, I have to be better in order
Achieve
to
more.
get presence and love and
Wow.
acceptance.
But you had love and acceptance from them, right?
I did. I mean, my parents did such a beautiful job. And even their choice of not to tell me was a choice that came out of love, right? They were trying to protect me in a time when, I mean, this was, you know, I'm in my 40s. So there weren't like sperm banks where you could go through a catalog and carefully pick your donor. This was the Wild West.
Right.
People weren't doing this. Nobody they knew had done this. And so they thought not telling me was the best way to go.
Oh my gosh.
And I think for my dad, not telling me was really because he really was in denial. I mean, he believed the myth of our family.
What was the myth of your family?
That I was his.
Ah.
He believed that. And so his not telling me, I think, was really, he was sharing as much of the truth with me as he could. My mom, I think, had a more awareness of the reality. And so her not telling me, I think, was really protective. Yeah.
Wow.
I know it's pretty wild. It's so complicated, but I know it's so funny as I look back on it because I feel like when you're able to look back on your life, you can see, or for me, I'll speak for myself. As I look back on my life, I can see how everything happened for a reason. And the things that are our greatest challenges, this sounds so cliche, but they have become my strengths, right? Like this feeling of I have to do better and be better is what allows me to lean into greatness. It's what makes me seek excellence. It's what makes me train for 4 hours a day in stunt training and a workout on top of that and learning the fight choreography. And you know, it's like I want to be great in the things I do. The trick for me is, as an adult, seeking that excellence and greatness without the attachment that I'm not enough. Like waking up and saying like, I am enough and I still have a right to chase greatness.
That's what I was going to ask you. Can you achieve greatness and feel enough at the same time?
I think you can. For me, that's what I'm really trying to do. It's the walk that I'm trying to walk is like, can I love myself and also seek more? Is it okay to want to be excellent, to be great, to be a champion, to be a master at my craft and not have that come from a place of deficiency, have that come from a place of joy and seeking? And
when did you start to feel like you were enough? Was it before the lie was revealed or after the lie was revealed?
I feel like from the moment that I went into therapy in college, those days of like getting on my knees and being like, somebody help me, I feel like I've been on this journey of trying to feel like enough, of like picking up tools throughout the decades of like, I know I should feel like enough. And so I know that like we're all perfectly imperfect. We're all children of God. Like I should wake up in the morning and not hate myself. Like we all deserve that. And so I've been trying to cultivate, like, what does that take? What will that look like? What do I have to do? Different healing practices, different modalities in yoga and Pilates and therapy and group therapy and introspection. And so I have been on that walk, but I do think, and it's gradual, right? It's not like you wake up one day and you're like, I'm healed now. But I do think my parents offering me this deeper truth about who I am and where I come from, it like gave me permission to relax into who I am and to be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Now, do you feel like before that truth was revealed that you were able to fully relax into your relationship with your parents? Even though they were loving to you and supported you and encouraged you?
No.
You don't feel like you were able to?
No. And again, I've always had a really loving relationship with my parents. I have incredible parents and they have given me so many tools, consciously and unconsciously. They've been a tremendous part of the story of me getting to where I am today. I'm not where I am despite my parents. I'm mostly where I am because of my parents. And then there is a little bit of despite those dynamics, I wound up here. So I think I had a really good relationship with my parents, but I have a great relationship with my parents now because of the gift of truth that they've offered us.
You always felt like something was off.
Yeah, I felt like something was missing.
Did you ever ask them like, hey guys, what's going on? Like in your 20s and 30s, like,
No,
is there
because
something off? Are you guys not
what's
sharing with
funny?
something with me?
What's funny is that there were these kind of smaller revelations throughout my childhood. Like I talk about in the book how my dad was kind of involved in this investigation. And so when I learned about that, I was like, oh, this is what it was, right?
Like they were hiding this.
Yes, there were these, I think the culture of my family was kind of hide the truth to look good. And like, we should do whatever it takes to like look good in the world. So as I would learn these smaller truths along the way, I kept waiting to feel the revelatory feeling that I had when I got the big truth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you have any resentment or anger once they opened up after 4 decades of hiding this lie?
I did. I did. It was like a roller coaster. I feel like I've had every possible feeling that you could have about this news that I got. Any possible feeling you could have, I've had. I've had gratitude. I've felt elated. I have felt bliss. I have felt anger. I've felt anxiety. I felt fear. So it was, I mean, I think when they first told me, I felt really compassionate because I could see when they told me how afraid they were to tell me. And I remember saying to my dad, and I don't know where this came from, but I'm so grateful that this dropped into my brain to say to him. I said to him, you know, our whole lives, I have told you that I love you on the pretense of a lie. Like every time that I have said I love you, there's been a tiny filter that my dad was thinking like, oh, she loves me because she thinks I am her father. And so in this revelation, I actually got to say, I love you unconditionally. Like I got to say, I know the full truth of you and I'm not going anywhere. I still love you. And to me, that's a much more powerful love, right? A love that's rooted in absolute vulnerability and honesty. When you get to like show all your dirty laundry to somebody and your greatest fears and admit the things that you're scared to admit and they don't go anywhere, that is real love, right? So that's what we got to give each other. When they gave me the truth, I got to give them that return of unconditional love. And them giving me the truth was a way of loving me unconditionally because they were saying, we know you might be mad. We know you may not want to be in relationship with us. We know this might change the dynamic of our family forever, but we're going to give you this truth anyway.
Wow. It must have took a lot of courage for them.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're thinking, we're never going to say this, but now she's in her 20s.
Yeah.
You can't do it now.
That's right. My mom was like, when was I supposed to tell you? When you're in the throes of an eating disorder? Like, when was I supposed when you're totally depressed or then, you know, you're in a broken relationship? Or she was like, there was never a good time.
Yeah. Or now your career's taking off. Yes. We're going to bring you back down. Or it's like, let's let her succeed.
That's right.
Just keep...
There's never an easy time to tell the truth when there are hard truths to tell.
But you also, I mean, you have kids and so they're grandparents as well.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that dynamic was like now that they're lying to generations.
Yeah.
You know, they were lying to generations. It's like, I wonder how, I mean, your father must have gone through so many emotions himself. Yeah. I'm not saying it's okay that they lied.
Yeah. But we're all doing the best we can, right? And again, especially as parents, I think it is really powerful and important, I think, in our journey that they told me at the right time, right? Because it's when they told me. So whenever it happened is when it was supposed to happen. And I do think there's something beautiful about the fact that when they told me, I was myself a parent because I had a different level of understanding of how hard it is to parent and how you can try to do everything perfectly, but nobody gets it perfect. It's just, there's no such thing. And actually the ways that our parents are imperfect, that's part of the journey of how we become who we are. That's how we fill in those cracks and become the adults that we are.
Yeah, and they were trying to protect you and they loved you and they wanted to keep you guys together. And it was part of their journey. Yeah. He must have let go of a huge weight.
Yeah.
Like, does he seem lighter and younger, just like emotionally?
You know, it's so funny when I think about it. It was a very important lesson for me and also how to metabolize fear and how to run toward the things that we think will destroy us. Because initially he wouldn't even take a genetic test for, you know, he was like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want anybody else to know. He literally said to me, if you do this, it will kill me.
Oh my gosh.
He didn't want me to write a book. He was like, nobody should know. Why do we have to talk about this? Nobody needs to talk about this. Nobody needs to know. Then I think about moments in my book tour where he's like standing in an auditorium getting a standing
Oh my
ovation,
gosh.
where people are celebrating his presence as a dad and the fact that despite the fact that I wasn't genetically his, that he has been such a force in my life and has loved me so fiercely.
Wow.
And, you know, he got that in like several cities, standing ovations, cheering him on and celebrating him. And on national television, people saying like, what an amazing thing you did. And even the fact that my parents made this choice to use a sperm donor in the 70s when nobody was doing that, that in itself is a testament of how much they wanted me.
Oh man,
right?
It's so beautiful.
So that journey for my dad, to see him go from being somebody who he thought would lose all respect and credibility and masculinity and identity, to see him be so celebrated and held up, it's a really important lesson, right?
It's
like
so powerful.
The thing that we think will destroy us could be our greatest gift.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this and you want more inspirational content, make sure to click the subscribe button below and click right here to watch what's coming next.